on earth is going on, Elizabeth?
I'm going to use artificial intelligence and tap right in my brain. Why bother with brushes when I can tap directly into my canvas? Easy peasy.
You threw away your brushes.
The future is here.
This is not how artificial intelligence works.
No way. I can feel it working right now. I'm getting nice and warm and there's a slight buzzing.
You are buzzing.
Oh no! Maybe I should have kept my brushes.
Hi, welcome to Art Adventures. I'm Adriana Eftimie.
And I'm Elizabeth Whelan, and today we're talking about artificial intelligence.
Oh wow, this is an amazing painting up here. Elizabeth, did you paint that?
No, that's actually an interpretation of a photograph using artificial intelligence. So AI stands for artificial intelligence, which means making computers and machines that do things that normally require human intelligence. At this time, AI computers do not actually think like a human. AI systems use algorithms, which are step-by-step instructions, to learn from data, to recognize patterns, and to make predictions. These algorithms can be trained using large data sets of information.
Oh,
and that
wow.
part is really key. And programmed to perform specific tasks. So they can do things like, recognize faces and translate languages, and they can make images. So I know you've been looking into this a lot, Adriana. How do you actually use artificial intelligence to create art?
People use artificial intelligence to create art by entering a text called a prompt into an artificial intelligence art generator. Your prompt can be to develop images in the style of others, generate paintings just by text descriptions, or even creative coding to make art merely with code.
Wow.
But as you said, the algorithm is using millions of existing images found on the internet, including the ones that are copyrighted.
Oh, that's not good.
That's not good. All of these prompts rely on the use of those existing images from the internet, manipulating them and sometimes just copying them. For this AI-generated art, as you said, we used a single photograph of us and asked AI to generate art inspired by this photo. I think it looks quite interesting, right? Considering the human effort, our effort was minimal.
Right.
And also the existing image that the artificial intelligence used is ours. It's not stolen from other artists. Now, what's interesting is that artificial intelligence art is even sold at the auction house. Have you heard about the most expensive AI painting sold at the auction house?
I have indeed. And so here we have it. This painting is called Edmond de Bellamy, and it is the title of an AI-produced image that was constructed in 2018 by a Paris-based arts collective. So this image, which auction house Christie's called a painting, created an uproar when they said they were going to auction it off as the first artwork in their catalog that had been created using artificial intelligence. It blew through the pre-auction estimates, which were $7,000 to $10,000. You're not going to believe it. It sold for $432,500.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. I mean, what people will do for the first of something, it's crazy. But this piece is called a portrait. It's, as you can see, a somewhat blurry image of a man. It's been printed on canvas, and this image was actually produced by an algorithm that referenced a data set of 15,000 portraits from various periods. Like you said, not asking the permission, not getting copyright permission, that sort of thing. And the signature at the bottom is part of the algorithm code that produced the artwork itself. So that's kind of cool. But so I've got opinions.
Of course you do. Let's hear it.
I don't call this a portrait painting because it hasn't actually been painted. So this is something that Christie's, the auction house, they decided to call it a portrait. They decided to call it a painting. And they decided to call it artwork. And also, they actually even call it artificial intelligence. And we're not really at the point yet where machines and computers are able to think for themselves. We're really talking about the product of an algorithm. I consider images like this to simply be a byproduct of the AI software, which is cool, but it is not the same as a painting. What do you think about this as actual artwork, Adriana?
Well, as you said, you cannot actually call it a painting. On one hand, I understand that it was right at the beginning when AI artwork was first generated and everyone was so excited about it. And they were like, oh, let's take it to the auction house, right? And push the prices. Let's see how high it can go. And it went pretty high. But now, who is the artist in this situation, right? Because the human artist, the human input was just to write the prompt. So can you call yourself an artist just by entering a text, a prompt, and then let AI do the work for you? Are you the final artist? Are you the one that created it?
Yeah, I think this is right. And I think part of our problem is this terminology. Like I just mentioned, the auction house decided to call it a painting, said that the AI had created it. Whereas I look at this more like making a cake. You talk about making a cake, not creating a cake.
Can't wait to see where you go with this.
Well, so when you make a cake, you have ingredients that you mix up, and perhaps you change the quantities or whatever, but you're making a cake using pre-existing ingredients. And AI is doing exactly the same thing. It's not thinking for itself. It's using that data set of 15,000 portraits to make this image. So it's not creating a painting, it's making an image. And I think that the language is really important. But the people who don't want to use that language would be, of course, artists who want to make money, calling this a painting, auction houses who want to sell it as a painting, et cetera, et cetera. But I stand firm that the creative part of AI is actually the software, that the software engineer did something super creative by creating this algorithm that can do this.
Yeah,
there's my opinion.
That's right. I do agree with you.
And the other thing that's kind of interesting is that the arts collective that created this or made this, they don't actually own the copyright. And that is because there is no human to attribute a copyright to, which I think is really amazing. So, Adriana, you can tell I have some definite ideas about what's going on here. And I know you have some thoughts about AI. Is it creating original art?
Well, that's a good question because it's related to this painting, right, that was sold with so much money at the auction house.
Right.
Well, while artificial intelligence might be able to create new and somehow unique artworks, it is a matter of debate if that artwork is considered original. Some say AI can create original art in the sense that it can generate images that have never seen before, like the one here, right? But some argue that true art must come from the human experience and that AI can only mimic the human creativity. And that's a big, big thing.
Yeah.
We know artists in general are inspired by other artists. Like I was inspired by other artists because I love their paintings and I wanted to learn more from them. I assume you too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
To the point that some even create paintings in the very similar style to other artists or borrow ideas and subject matters, color schemes, and so on. Now, at the first glance, it seems that AI does the same thing. So why wouldn't this be original artwork, right? If AI generated artwork that was based on those paintings, because it's like the artist is also inspired by other painters.
Sure.
Well, I think there are two ways of looking at this. One is the issue of artificial intelligence generated art being original, and the other issue is the one being ethical. Yeah. And I think that's actually the bigger problem. As you said, the copyright part. In the United States, AI generated artwork cannot be copyrighted. But in some other parts of the world, for example, in Europe, there have been cases where it was copyrighted in certain circumstances.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
The way copyright works, for example, in the United States is that Adriana and I create an artwork. From the minute we create it, it's covered by U.S. copyright law. No one else can legally use this painting or image in any way without our permission, even if it's up on the website to advertise our work. And so there are groups of artists that are trying to put a stop to this whole business of being able to take artwork, and they've actually filed a class action suit about this. These algorithms can't make the art by themselves without some kind of input. And if that's the case, then real artists should be benefiting in some way, in my opinion. And artificial intelligence, I'm not against it in any way. I mean, it's extraordinary.
And it's so much fun.
Yeah, and the leap of possibility about what we can do is amazing, but we have to do it ethically. And artists shouldn't be suffering from this sort of thing. Some of the artists who are actually involved in this class action suit are digital artists. It seems that their artwork is even easier to take from the internet. It might be worthwhile clarifying what the difference is between artificially intelligence-generated images and digital art.
That's a really good question. I do want to say before getting there that those artists that you're talking about suing the AI generating platforms, those artists, their artwork was actually stolen to the point that if you're looking to the AI generated artwork based on their pictures, based on their paintings, and you're looking at their paintings, they were so similar.
So similar.
Yes, and they would, the ones that generated this artwork, they would end up selling it or profiting from their hard work. How is this fair, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's true. Artificial intelligence can be confused with digital art. While both AI art and digital art involve the use of technology, the AI art is using algorithms and machine learning techniques to produce art without direct human input. The only human input in creating AI artwork is the prompt, the text. In the case of digital art, the process is quite different. The artist is directly involved in the creative process. Digital painting is an art form where the artist will operate their stylus pen, like a brush or a pencil, to execute illustrations within a software program using a computer screen as their digital canvas. So it's like you're painting, right? You're like doing your own craft, you just have a different medium. Now, AI art appears to be a particular threat to digital artists because the data sets that AI is using to produce artwork have access to huge amount of information from digital artists because their work exists mainly in a digital form.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So here's a story that created controversy. Jason Allen used AI to create this hyper-realistic artwork called Theater the Opera Spatial. He printed it on a canvas and entered it into a competition, a digital competition, at the 2022 Colorado State Fair. He won the first prize, making it one of the first AI-generated artworks to win a competition. Even though he disclosed the use of artificial intelligence, the event created a big outrage in the art world, and you can see why.
Absolutely.
Yes, 1 year later, we're still in the outrage.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, goodness.
Now, is the artist really the artist if he's just writing a prompt? Is that the bare minimum now to become an artist? That's a tricky question.
Well, you probably already know how I'm going to answer that. I mean, this is a really amazing, image. It's really cool, very sci-fi looking. It's fabulous.
It is.
But he didn't paint the darn thing, and the AI platform that he was using really isn't the creator. The creator is the thousands of artists whose work was used to give the algorithm the information needed to work with.
Let's say.
Okay.
Ideally, right?
Right.
Now, I think there still should be a way to differentiate the artists, the art creating people, from this AI generated artwork. Like in competitions, they should be different.
That makes sense, right?
Categories, right?
Like photography is a different category.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think we're at that point where someone should really do something to say, hey, this is great, but it's different.
Even digital art isn't always allowed to be in a competition with hand painting. So why would artificial intelligence?
Yeah. So do you think artificial intelligence will replace human artists?
You've heard me making my many points about how art gets created and who gets the credit. But of course, as artists, me and Adriana, we feel pretty strongly about this. But I actually wouldn't mind the use of artificial intelligence if it was actually making up the art itself. That would, I think, be kind of cool. And it's highly unlikely right now that AI will completely replace oil painters. I think there is this sort of area where they may actually be useful. It's this whole idea of the process. AI right now is depending on those finished products, the final paintings, to get their information. That misses everything about what actually makes a painting what it is. The process of painting each artwork is unique. We're unique. And I think many people are still going to prefer the authenticity and the tangible quality of a handcrafted artwork. To actually see the paint on canvas makes a difference. But let's have a look really quickly here at how fast art producing AI is evolving, because it is an image maker. It's pretty amazing.
Oh yeah, let's see.
So by the time anyone's watching this, we're probably even going to be further along than these examples I'm about to show you. But I went to one of the AI platforms that uses open source AI and put in a prompt and then got 2 sets of results. First using a basic AI and then an updated test, kind of a beta version. And the improvement was amazing just in a few months. So the prompt I used was based on the Vermeer painting that we looked at in the very first episode, which showed a woman in a blue dress reading a letter by the window. That was the prompt I asked. And I asked the software to make an image of a painting with those attributes. So the first set was kind of basic. Let's have a look at them right now. We can see them. Oh, wow, there's a definite problem with this woman with 3 arms.
I kind of like that one. Can you imagine how many paintings she can paint?
Well, it's funny. I have seen some artists like draw or paint people in motion, showing their arms flailing in that kind of manner. But I don't think that this particular, something about it. But let's look now at images generated by the newer AI software and see what that does. And wow, there is quite a difference. I hadn't actually asked, this is interesting as well, I hadn't asked for a woman in a traditional setting or with a long dress, but that's what they gave me, with her hair up in the bun. And that is because the artwork that has been fed to the algorithm shows a lot of women looking like that. And so then I was into this now, because I have to tell you, it is a lot of fun. So last week we talked about The Scream by Edvard Munch. And so I took that and then I asked for a painting that was like Edvard Munch. So here's the first stuff that, we got 4 paintings, not bad, same kind of color and line, but lacking the emotion. So what happens next gets really interesting. I had the same prompt written with the newer AI. And what I got wasn't Munch's style of painting as much as it was an attempt to capture some of the angst and emotion in his paintings. So what do you think of this? There's still some weirdness going on with the images, the hands and the legs and stuff like that. But Edvard Munch's paintings that were about loneliness and anger and all of that introspection, there's no doubt that this AI captured that a bit more, and the painterly look is greatly improved. What do you think about that?
Yes, I do have to agree. Although, so the AI is capturing these paintings in a way that it thinks Edward will paint.
Yeah.
But if you look at his paintings and the AI generated paintings, you will see how much the emotion varies in those two.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It really, as much as it tries, it really lacks the emotion. It's not as powerful. It's not as big as the human touch.
I mean, it's impressive to us because we haven't seen a computer do this before.
Yes.
But it's not like if you hang them side by side, you're not going to get the same feeling. There is a level of picture making that AI absolutely can compete within. There's an audience for this type of image making. Those who can't or won't buy real art or commission an artist to create something. I was talking earlier about stock photography. So if I'm self-publishing a book and I want a cover, right now I might pick a stock image and get some type laid over it, and there's my cover. Well, AI now allows me to go in and put in a prompt and get an image. It's fun to make them, but the knowledge of how they've been made kind of removes any sense of awe at the individual's actual creation. And it kind of reminds me of cheating. Yes, you got the answer right, but you did it the wrong way.
Yes. I see what you're saying. Well, I don't think that AI will replace human artists anytime soon because it really lacks the human emotions, the behavior, experiences, of course, also the ethical component.
Right, exactly.
However, AI will most certainly influence the art world. It's here and is not going away. It will become bigger and bigger, and we will depend more and more on it because it's really helpful. It's a tool.
We're talking about painters here because that's what we are. But
Yep.
what kind of jobs in the art world is AI likely to replace?
Well, AI will certainly have a big impact in some jobs more than others. However, they won't be completely replaced, I think, hopefully, at least for now. AI will become more of a tool for efficiency as it will help with jobs that involve repetitive tasks that can be automated. For example, in image editing, right? AI algorithms can correct small things like color balance, remove blemishes, or lately even bigger things like generated entire new elements in the photograph that weren't there before, and they look really, really accurate.
Like the backgrounds, for example. I've seen
Yeah.
some interesting stuff done.
It's really cool. In art restoration, where damaged artworks can be very time-consuming to repair and also require a very high level of skill, AI can identify damage and virtually reconstruct the art.
Wow.
Yes, that's really cool. That's from my point of view.
That's because we like making the originals.
Yes, we like making the originals. In archiving, AI can be used to analyze large collections of artwork, making it easier to manage and organize them. In art sales and marketing, it can analyze the customer behavior, which means more targeted sales and better marketing.
No, more spam. Oh my goodness.
More. Just wait for it. And we all know how social media platforms work or how our phone works when we don't think it's listening, but it's listening. Now, AI isn't likely to completely replace these jobs, the need for human creativity, individuality, and skill. But it will make a very, very big difference, and we will depend on it, as I said. Now, Elizabeth, what do you think is the risk of using AI? Is there a risk?
Well, yeah, so we've talked a bit about the job market and ethical considerations,
Yeah.
but I think there are a few more. So one of the primary risks of using AI to create art, at least right now, is the potential for the work just to lack originality and creativity. I mean, right now we're pretty amazed that it can do it at all. That's really, isn't it? That's kind of like, well, I put in
new
these
thing,
things. And
new exciting
right,
thing.
exciting. But it's also, at least right now, pretty easy to spot when it's an AI-generated art, or when an artist has used an AI-generated piece to then paint as sort of like a jumping off point to paint their own painting. I mean, it's kind of easy to see how that works right now, at least to an artist. And I'm sure you have had the same reaction. If something doesn't look quite right. So lack of originality and also bias and stereotypes. I was talking about how we got back women in long blue dresses, even though I hadn't asked for a long blue dress and I hadn't asked for everybody to have their hair in a bun, because that was the information that was put out. So in other words, the AI is right now, they're only as unbiased as what they're trained on. And if the data contains biases or stereotypes, then those biases may end up being reflected in the art world. So one of the things that Adriana's heard me going on about a lot is when you go into a museum, women, we either have no clothes on,
Yep.
or we're reading, or we're lounging in some way that doesn't really reflect what a woman's life is actually like. So if all of the inputs that are going in are those sort of activities, then where's the woman who's the astronaut? That's not going to come out in the AI response because there isn't the data in. Garbage in, garbage out.
We are getting better and better at writing prompts because this is still very new. But the more we learn about it, the better results we will get. I think that's where we're going right now. So Elizabeth, do you have any other opinions before we wrap it up?
Oh, I'll save all the rest of my opinions for another show. But yeah, let's wrap this up with one more AI-generated image. So I used the prompt, a painting of an artist at work. And this looks very painty, a lot of painty looking stuff. And I do like the many colors. It's kind of interesting.
I like the fact that it looks like oil painting. Even though it's in digital form,
Yeah.
it looks like it's oil. That's
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah, so we can see that there's a lot of stuff that's going to come in artificial intelligence when it comes to artwork.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. I hope we got you thinking about artificial intelligence art. Now, the genie is out of the lamp, and what happens next will impact all of us. In the meantime, well, Elizabeth and I will be painting the traditional way with paint.
Yeah, it's fun to think about the subject around artificial intelligence and what it can do. And if you're interested in learning a bit more, if you go to our website, artadventures-tv.com, we've put some links and books and some of the images that you saw here today so you can check them out.
Yeah, and we look forward to seeing you next week when we're talking about secret codes and symbols in art.
Oh, that's great. I can't wait.
Yep. Well, till next time.
Till next time.
Bye.
See you next week. Is my head on straight?
And you threw away the brushes? Stop laughing!
I forgot what I was supposed to say next. I should have memorized this stuff. So what now? What? Okay. I must compose myself.